And that went quick. And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This Vlogcast started as a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because people on Facebook really need to be told, or, you know what, in some cases, just take them off your friends list if it's really that important. I had to do that. I had somebody that was, requested friend status with me, and it's somebody I've known most of my life. And I take a look at some of the stuff that's on their timeline, and I said, "Nope, you ain't staying." Part of this is to follow through with the old adage: sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, pretty much all over the place. You can find me almost anywhere under that SHUJIN. We have a diminutive list at the moment of people. There's reasons, mostly. As usual, however, starting off the top left-hand corner, good evening, Dallin.
Good evening.
And kind of south and east from him, the Midwest of the U.S., good evening, Bridget.
Good evening.
And yes, it's a small group at the moment. Not sure where Joey is. Could be that it's gotten cold and he's hibernating again. It happens. Let's see. Unreno Tech is going to be otherwise busy, so he's not going to be able to make it. Heretic Woman's not feeling real good right now, so she's waved off. Understandable. Joseph is in Paris. I don't know. It's early for it's entirely possible he's still asleep. Which, you know what? It's super early. It's fine. Don't worry about it. He always gets a little paranoid about the whole damn thing. So whatever, man. Don't worry about it. You make it, you don't. It's not like I'm going to dock your pay or nothing. Ellen and I know about all that, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do.
Yes, we do. It's going to be one of those things. So, of course, as always, thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you are so inclined and you're watching live, feel free to take advantage of the live, wherever the hell the live chat is for you. I don't care. Whatever the hell it is. It doesn't matter.
Well, Stephanie's already in there.
Steps there. Hi, hon. No, your system was not running behind schedule. It was mostly my fault. It's my fault. I'm the one that runs the whole damn thing. So everything works right. It's a group effort. Everything wrong's bad. Me. That's on me.
Isn't that the way of things, though?
It is. And that's kind of the. I was going to say that's kind of the sad part, but at the same time, you know what? It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I've learned that from another YouTuber that may have actually gone ahead and basically told me to get good with video making. That's a whole other thing for later. Anybody figures it out, good on you. Those of you that don't know, don't worry about it.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, is that meant as a
well, about the other project?
Yeah, I know, but I was going to say, like, does that mean you need to work on it, or that it was a good start?
Well, let's go as far as to say my choice of medium was considered perhaps amateurish, as opposed to using some other engines, I guess might be a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Before you go with that one, my attitude is I have experience with this. Why don't I use what I've got experience in instead of reinventing the wheel?
Well, and not only that, I think I know the kind of medium that they're describing because I've seen other videos done along the same format, but using the said different medium that you're talking about. And I also know that the people who use those particular mediums also have relatively deep pockets to get the artwork commissioned, which, as I recall, it ain't cheap.
No.
And I've also seen people who kind of do it themselves and also look like before they started putting art to paper. Let's see. The Falcones came in and bashed their hands in with mallets. Another psycho came in and smacked them upside the head with a baseball bat. And then they were force-fed acid until their ears turned pink.
We're not talking about termite terrace anymore, are we?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, this is the kind of art somebody did while definitely under the influence of some kind of narcotic.
Gotcha. And I don't have narcotics. However, for those of you that are watching live, I'm going to give you guys the opportunity of kind of help me out at this point. And yes, Stephanie, I know it's just you at the moment who's specifically chiming in, but I have decided that since most of the time that I've been doing the show this particular year, I've had something alcoholic to drink. You guys are going to be helping me out the next couple of weeks, specifically the next 6 weeks. So if you're listening to the podcast version, you should really tune in sometime because you get to help out, or just send an email and let us know. I have a collection of beers. I guess they're all beers. And I normally do not like beer. And I say that as a general blanket statement, knowing full well that I could be wrong. So you guys are going to kind of help me out a little bit. And the hosts are also, they kind of know about this a little bit, but you guys are going to kind of help me out. And while I'm doing my opening, you guys get to decide this week if I'm going to try from the Great Lakes Brewing Company, Dortmunter Gold Lager, or the odds-on favor, by the way, the Java, I forget what it's called, Java Heat Stout, Java Head Stout.
Java Head Stout, yeah.
Like I said, odds-on favor because, Java, coffee. Vanilla Porter from, I don't even know who the hell this is. So there's this one. A Caramel Porter from Saranac. There. See, they're real bottles. From a local group, Flying Bison, the Rusty Chain Vienna style beer. No, I am not getting paid back. I paid for this out of my own damn money, so shut up. And from Brooklyn Pilsner. So I don't, like I said, I don't drink beer. I normally don't like beer. Last time out, I tried the Japanese one. Sapporo, right? That's what it was. Yeah, I didn't even finish it, so we will see. So you guys get to kind of
decide. My vote is a vanilla because the label happens to match the lighting in your office and your shirt, and it just all coordinates nicely.
It's not only to drink; it's also a fashion statement.
It could be
exactly.
It could be. And hey, Devin, see you over there. So I guess we'll figure it out. Since I don't have any particular, we'll figure it from there. Joseph, well, good morning. I was a little concerned you weren't going to make it. Good morning.
Bonjour.
Good morning, bonjour. It's a bit wet here.
It's.
I'm hoping on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the water is coming up to around my ankles.
Oh.
There's flooding here.
Oh dear.
Wait, are you talking about like inside your inside your place of living, or just outside in general on the street?
I'm figuratively speaking.
Okay, you had me really worried there a second.
I live on the third floor, so I think, yeah.
All the more reason why I was a little bit concerned.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joseph, if it was up to your ankles and you're on the third floor, get out.
or just relocate to,
Higher
Kentucky and well, I was going to say the Ark Park, but I don't even think that would work.
Or I'd just be like every other Trump voter and just complain that the water's not warm enough.
And then blame Obama.
Exactly. Did I ruin your introduction?
Nope.
No,
I hadn't even quite gotten there.
Damn.
You missed his. You're missing his alcoholic conundrum. However,
yes. Oh. So since we got everybody over in the live chat, Trippin is over there, Devin's over there, and Joseph, you're now here. One more time for the folks in the back. You guys get to try to decide for me. For tonight, am I going to try the Great Lakes Brewing Company Dortmunder Gold Lager? Am I going to try the odds-on favor, the Java Head Stout? Am I going to try the Vanilla Porter, which apparently goes lovingly with my color scheme in my office?
It does.
Is that before it goes in or out after?
Continuing on, the Brooklyn Pilsner, the Rusty Chain Vienna style beer, local one, Or finally, the Porter Caramel from Sarnak. So, like I've said, I normally do not like beer, and I kind of say that as a blanket. All of you guys are going to help me decide which one I'm going to try this week, and we will eventually go through the 6-pack that I bought out of my own money. So those of you that were looking to, give us money, yeah, whatever. So we'll figure it from there, and you guys can kind of discuss for yourselves which one you think that I should try this week. And after I get done with my intro, I'll go from there. So, I did kind of warn Bridget and Dallin about my opening that I have a tendency. My head has a tendency of thinking sideways on a lot of things, and that's kind of the reason why my 5-minute freestyles end up the way that they do. And Bridget had kind of asked, is this a good thing or a bad thing this week? I'm going to kind of leave that up to you guys to try to figure out. Because truth be told, I'm not really sure. So with 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts now. Now, if you read the news story, or more importantly, if you didn't, let me just give you the headline from the Des Moines Register. Nicole Finn gets 3 life sentences for starving 3 of her adopted children until one died. I saw this come through my news feed over on over my Android smartphone, and the first thing that came to my mind was, "Oh Christ, another god person did this, I'll bet." And I was wrong. It's one of those things where I don't know how I should feel about that. I had that assumption to start off with, because that was really, really an uncomfortable moment for me to even consider that, because I am a parent, single parent at this point, but these were adopted kids. These are kids that you intentionally said, yeah, I will take care of them. Oh man. If you didn't read the article, you might be better off. I will only give you a couple of pieces of the headline that goes along with it. She locked them in their room. One of them got out and panhandled for food, and when she found out, I forget if it was that she nailed or screwed the window shut to prevent them from escaping. The 16-year-old that died was estimated to have been approximately 85 pounds. According to the information, her height and weight and age, she should have been 125 or better. So she's been found guilty, and 3 life sentences to be served sequentially, not concurrently. So here's a way that my thought process came out on this. You are in jail for the rest of your natural life. No ifs, ands, or buts. But what if the remains were kept? If the person lived to be 85 years old, just argument's sake, what if the remains are cremated and stored at the jail for the next 85 years and then another 85 years after that, not to be released to any next of kin, any family, until that point? That's an unthinkable idea, isn't it? Consider that a second. No one would actually consider this. And the fact that my brain actually thought of this scares the bejesus out of me. But even so, that is a level of punishment on the person that we as a society would never even consider doing, except for stupid YouTube vloggers who think about weird stuff like this because they do. They would never be known at that point. Their name would be effectively non-existent in the public knowledge. Nobody would even know. Would even any next of kin or family even know 200 years later? Would they even accept them? Would they bother? Would they be notified? Would they care? Think about how absolutely heinous a punishment that would be on the person, no matter who they are. And think this. That is something that we could do here on Earth. And that's a completely, almost unthinkable punishment that we do on a person, on their character. Which would be worse? Doing that here on Earth, or whatever punishment hell might throw at you? I'm pretty sure hell doesn't do anything quite that nasty. And that's something that we could do to someone here. But we don't. Because we're somewhat slightly civilized in our punishments. This is episode 197 on the docket, Your Honor. 3 episodes until we hit the wonderful 200 point, and oh my God, I don't even know what the hell is going to happen to us at that point. I think we turn into pumpkins or something. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. We'll figure it out from there. But yeah, this whole thing kind of came hand in hand with it all. What's hell like? Well, we found out what hell is like, and it's got everything to do with the Satanic Temple basically cramming it up somebody's lawyer hole thing. I don't know how to really describe it. The Satanic Temple, who is a joy to behold at many times, because they basically say, you want to go ahead and you want to do this? Okay, we'd like to get in on this too. Please, thank you. Oh, you don't want to have anybody doing that anymore? Oh, funny how that works. You know, things like prayer in school, or after school clubs that are, you know, the I was going to say the Joy Luck Club. That's not the right thing. The Good News group, you know, the Seconds. Oh God, if you've ever heard of the Seconds group in schools, oh, seriously, I'm like almost ready to drop an F-bomb straight away, because it's disgusting to me.
Yeah,
I am second.
Sorry, I was going to say there are some days I'm actually glad I'm not a parent. Having listened to conversations of other parents, like who are my coworkers, and some of the things they've had to go through in the past, it's been interesting to say the least.
Yeah, and like I was saying, the Seconds group is kind of disgusting to me, because it's basically, I am second to God.
Wow, that's awfully presumptuous, don't you think?
Well, meaning I'm not nearly as important, you know, because
I'm sorry, but when it comes to a supreme being, you know, if that's your shtick, to me, humanity is actually quite a few steps down the food chain, if you will.
And parents like that, they tend to adopt the same attitude as God. Thou shalt not worship others before me.
Yeah, funny how that works. Isn't that a great way of saying, hey, you're in my club. You ain't getting into any other clubs.
Well, my scoutmaster says I should do it this way. No, you're going to do it my way.
That's the one. That's the one. So yeah, we're gonna kind of talk a little bit about that, because the situation in let's see, where was it? Missouri. Yeah, over in Missouri. The 72-hour wait on abortion, because whatever, which is not medically necessary. Yeah, that's right, Bridget. You're the medical expert. Not 72 hours for an abortion. That's That's perfectly necessary, isn't it?
No,
See,
it's not. But they have that just in case people happen to change their minds. But that's not usually the case.
You know,
I wonder if they played the Jeopardy theme during that entire 72 hours.
I would.
okay, what was
I
that?
would-
Dovetail that onto the 5-minute freestyle about the whole punishment thing.
oh, dude.
That's why if you guys are listening to this in like 3039, I rolled my eyes when he said that we were just a little bit more humane and civilized, because we're not.
Well, hey, you know, this part of the population, they're not the majority, but they sure are the noisiest.
Well, yeah, and there's the old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is that.
But
So,
overall, you know, when you look at, we can talk about these people specifically, but overall, things are looking better on the intellectual scale.
Yeah.
little by little.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees.
It's kind of a side point, but I just I brought up something with my girlfriend, is that, you know, the United States is going through something now. It seems like a bit of an intellectual crisis, and I was kind of comparing that to Europe. And like, compared to Europe, in a lot of people's minds anyways, the United States seems so far behind. But, you know, there's something going on in Europe here. There's a sort of like a denialism that they're not facing up to. An intellectual, well, you know, everything the United States is dealing with, like immigration and all that. Europeans, they're just like looking the other way. They're just pretending it doesn't exist until it hits them. So once the US comes through all this, they could actually be farther ahead than Europe.
You know, that'd be nice for a change.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a while to get there. And
well, it's happening like all of a sudden, you know.
Yeah, it just seems to be
burst.
Yeah, there's like this global case of rectal cranial inversion, it seems.
Yeah, well, it's called reality, like plonk.
Oh, no, I realize that, but like the reality is setting in, and a lot of people are starting to realize that, yeah, collectively they've had their heads shoved up their butts for the past little while, and you know, the complacency and naivete of before is just, it's not going to cut it anymore. Like it's time to roll up the sleeves and get to work. And unfortunately, I'd say a lot of the next generation is woefully not prepared to repair the damage that the collective laziness of the so-called West has created.
Well, thanks to the internet, they have more options.
Yeah.
Whereas before, like if we're going back to the parent example, you know, you had mom and dad, that was your source of everything. But nowadays, well, you know, you can get an entire university education online now.
That's very true. But, you know, but now the question is, can you apply it? Like, can you, like, are you, as the person who's acquired that knowledge now, are you ready to apply it in the real world so that you can move society in the direction that you need it to go? Because that kind of becomes
that's up to the person.
Very true. Very true.
I would think that anybody that would be that motivated to specifically continue some kind of education without going through the formal process would probably be more likely, because they've got the drive, because they're doing it on their own. But,
yeah, I would hope.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah, I would talk about myself, but I'm autodidact in everything except architecture. I mean, yeah. Well, I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm. No,
because mainly I had to do it on my own. I had no other choice.
Yeah,
it's a matter of survival, and survival is a very good motivator.
Yeah,
there is that.
Yes, the continuing breath after breath of daily life, that is a good thing, and anything you can do to help facilitate that, definitely a bonus.
Yeah, that actually works out well. So to kind of get things started, the two pieces we kind of have to deal with. Since Heretic Woman is not with us at the moment, of course, you know, I did go looking. I don't have any new news at this point for Rafe Badawi. The same news articles are circulating again. It's just rehashing the same news that, you know, he's up for the possibility of a parole, of being pardoned or whatever. The whole thing. It's the same news article. It's just being rehashed again because they can. So unfortunately, with nothing new at the moment, as of the recording of tonight's show, this is now 5 years, 7 months, 12 days since Rafe Badawi was unjustly incarcerated for thought crime. Our hopes and our thoughts are still with you and your family. We're still waiting on you. And the live chat is basically saying, well, did he pick a beer yet? I mean, what the hell's going on? You know, fine. Okay, so the recommendations were, you know, go from the worst to best. Okay, that's kind of a thing. I don't see anybody that's really kind of settled anything near. So, collectively, what do you guys?
I'm going to go with Bridget on this one. I think the vanilla might be a good start because it might just have enough sweetness that it's tolerable.
Isn't that dessert?
The thing about beers like that, with the Java, with the caramel, even with if you get like a chocolate stout or something like that, that flavor portion of it is actually very nuanced. It's very minor. Kind of like, you know, you go to a coffee shop and you order, like, if you just order a black coffee, but you get, like, say, hazelnut coffee, and you smell, it's like, oh, yeah, good hazelnut flavor. Then you take a drink, it's like, oh, God, that tastes just like the ass stuff that I normally get. That's the thing. Yeah.
You mean like this coffee? This coffee that I love from Japan? I love this coffee.
Well, okay, you love that coffee, but all I'm saying is that, you know, coffee tends to smell better than it tastes.
Yeah.
As we're all aware.
Okay.
Beer can be kind of the same thing. It can have a really good aroma with these, you know, somebody says, oh, it has notes of this and nuances of that, you know, kind of like gauging a fine wine. But when you drink it, it could hit your face like a steel-toed boot.
Okay, so which one are we talking about? The vanilla?
Yeah, go for it.
So we're talking about the vanilla porter?
The vanilla porter, yes.
Okay, so what's the worst that can happen? Famous last words. Yes.
Well, no, I didn't see any arrogant bastard in that six-pack, so I think you're relatively safe.
Well, I was, like I said, I was specifically looking for unusual stuff, and yes, my very good wine, because there it is. And the question was also on the floor: was it cold or warm? It was cold. It was in the.
Yeah, and put the other 5 back in the fridge for next week because.
Of course.
Yeah, you see, I'm kind of glad Chris isn't on the show tonight because we could take over the show with talking about the temperature of beer.
Yeah, you know, good week.
I have gotten into arguments with people from over the pond about the appropriate drinking temperature of beer, and I'll tell you, you could start a flipping war with the arguments me and this particular individual have had in the past. See, I'm, of course, me being from the north, I prefer my beer just this side of teeth rattling cold. And of course, in England, they've never heard of ice or ice boxes for that matter. And apparently drinking beer at the same temperature of, you know, your crotch is apparently a good thing. And no, to see at that point, when it gets to like that around here for me, it's time to pour it down the sink.
Warm beer sucks.
Yeah. Now, you see, that was my long-winded way of saying that.
Well, don't forget, beer is basically liquid water with bubbles and happy juice. So
yeah, that's only if it's Coors Light.
Yeah, Bridget, as a nurse, what would be the perfect temperature for a beer in an IV drip?
I don't think it'd be a good idea.
I don't. You know what? We're not going to go there. We're not going to go there.
If I could go back to HPTP and get that pick.
IV either. Sorry.
Oh, damn. See, I was going to go back to HPTP and see if they put that pick line back in for me.
No.
Ow.
Inserting alcoholic beverages into the body via any cavity other than oral is really not recommended. We here at Holy Crap the Vlogcast do not advocate in any way, shape, or form shoving a bottle up your rump, okay? It doesn't work well. Actually, it works all too well, but you can't taste it, and you really shouldn't. If you do that and you can taste it, something is wrong. See your doctor. My God. So, yeah, I'm going to tell you straight away, this is already kind of beer taste, so we'll kind of go from here. So it's mostly just beer. I guess we'll see how it turns out for the rest of it. See, this is my way of showing I am open to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there is a beer I actually do like. I don't think it's likely, but I'm willing to give it a shot.
Well, I think it's an acquired taste.
Yeah.
So anyway, wait a minute, Stephanie. Beer in the fridge. English beer needs to be room temperature. American lager needs to be frozen to kill your taste buds. Okay. The cold. I have never actually tried, so maybe I will sometime in the future. But be that as it may. I will let you know at the end of the show what I think, and who knows? Maybe by the end of the show, I will have found a beer that I like.
Well, and let's just say that room temperature in Southern California is not room temperature in Northern Liverpool.
Yeah, I was going to say, room temperature in California is the kind of thing you could probably soft boil an egg.
Well, it depends on whether or not it's the fire season or not. So the Satanic Temple. We've been lucky enough that we had the opportunity of speaking with Reap and some episodes back. I forget how far back it was. I don't keep track of these things. Sorry. No, I'm not. And we found out that generally speaking, the folks from the Satanic Temple, generally speaking, they're an okay group. They're not out there firebombing places. They're not explodifying themselves and others. They don't wear rings with little pins on them to give you AIDS. You know, nice going there. Religious right. Anyway,
yeah, this is the same kind of religious right though that says, you know, the staple diet of the atheist is the 3-cheese baby.
Yeah. So we
never goes on a baby. It's barbecue sauce.
It should be, and it needs to be infused with one of those big injectors. You know those cardiac needles? Those work great for infusing. Yeah, exactly. Those of you that don't know what a cardiac needle is, don't ask. Don't look it up. Seriously, don't do that.
Whatever you do,
yeah,
don't go looking.
Yeah, we tell you a lot of times what to go looking for as a joke. This is time. Don't. Seriously, don't.
And if I can make a second suggestion in terms of long, shiny, pointy things not to go look for, remember, ladies and gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, and I say this, Spinal Tap is just a band. Let it go. Let it go.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I'm going to drink this up really, really heavily at this point. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah, okay. Have you had one? I have.
So the Satanic Temple, we put the 7 tenets of the Satanic Temple up against the 10 commandments of the Old Testament, and basically found out that no contest. Is no contest. Yeah. So the Satanic Temple basically comes out on all fronts on this. So we're basically going to extol the virtues of what the Satanic Temple does and how they're wonderfully delicious in what they do, and how maybe joining the Satanic Temple, if you're not already part of an organized religious organization, might just be the thing for you to do. As complete honesty and complete transparency, I am not affiliated with any church organization of any kind whatsoever currently. Could the Roman Catholic Church still perhaps somewhere have me on a listing somewhere? Probably. That's not my fault. The last time I was in a church voluntarily was somebody else's wedding, which was our good friend and one-time co-host Witchy when she got married.
Yeah.
And let's see, before that, I think the only other time, about almost 13 years ago when my wife died. Thank you.
Yeah. And
So
somehow I don't get the feeling that you're going to be tracked down by a bishop or a cardinal, you know, for your back tithes or anything like that.
Nope. They can try. Yeah. You ever try to get blood out of a stone?
Well, I was going to say, let's hope that, you know, given the fact that there is still a little bit of religious influence in government law and stuff like that, let's hope they never get that one passed. Because I would be willing to bet they've tried.
This is not any kind of alcohol talking because it's not been nearly long enough. But suddenly, you know how my brain goes sideways. I was suddenly thinking to myself, blood from a stone. Yeah, that's a snip and clip that went wrong. I really don't. All right, let's just move on. Let's just move on from here. So the Satanic Temple basically said 72-hour waiting notice for an abortion. No, our bodies are inviolate, and it's our job to tend to our bodies. And you instituting a 72-hour waiting period is what's the word that we're looking for here? Going against our religious sensibilities. So now you have to try to figure out which way do you want to go ahead and take this, because we can play this game just as well as any other Christian faction can, and we can do it better because you laid the ground rules, and we're just going to go ahead and screw you over with your own rules. That's what I love. You know, if we were having a contest right now, why I love the Satanic Temple, there it is right there. Because they will use your rules and screw you over with your own rules.
Kind of like
that's what I love.
And that to
Aikido.
me,
That's a good point.
Sorry?
It's kind of like Aikido.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You use your opponent's momentum against them.
Exactly right. Damn, I really hadn't thought of it that way. Well done. You beat me on this one.
It's been a long time since I've even looked at that.
It's just a brown bottle like any other bottle, man. It's nothing special about it. It's got the same color as the office over here. Why would you think that was such a good idea? Whatever. Yes, I'm picking on you. Shut up, Bridge. Thanks.
Should I discuss what I heard about the term bootlegging, what it means?
Oh. I have no idea where you're going with this, so go right ahead.
All right. You guys have seen, okay, up here we call them Mickeys, but down there you call them half bottles of booze.
Oh, okay.
The sort of flat, kind of curved shape bottles.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. They're about little fat ones. They're kind of like your fist, that kind of thing.
No, actually, they almost look like a flask in terms of their shape.
Okay, I'm not familiar with this, so
okay.
Anyway, going on.
Anyways, that particular shape was because then people who were smuggling booze during Prohibition era could slide them into the boot, and it would conform to the curvature of one's leg.
Oh, those curved flasks.
Yes.
Okay. I know what you're talking about.
See, up here we call them the Mickeys. Down there we call them. I've heard them called half bottles.
Okay. I've traditionally referred to them as a hip flask because it bends along. The funny part of it is the really, really good maple syrup that I get over at Canada Superstore is in a glass one of those, and it's freaking delicious.
Yeah, but anyways, the reason they call it bootlegging is because, well, that's how they got it across. They slid it into the boot.
Oh.
And no one was the wiser. You know, kind of like back when they used to smuggle cocaine inside of tires before customs got wise.
Makes sense.
Or maybe that's just an urban legend. I don't know. I'll have to watch more of the Border Patrol thing when I'm, bored out of my skull. Or next year when weed becomes legal in Canada, I could just sit on the couch, get baked, and watch like stupid shows like that, and actually find them amusing.
Oh God, that's gonna be so funny. The folks are gonna be on one side of the Great Lakes, and it could just be like, "You ready, guys? Here it comes." God, get this like. That's what I expect it's gonna happen.
Well, no, oh God, Rush Limbaugh moment here. And that's why they're creating the wind farms down in southern Alberta, so that when pot becomes legal, they'll be able to blow all the smoke down into the United States and get the Americans stoned, so that the lizard people and the water that's turning the frogs gay can come over and invade us.
Southern Alberta?
Yeah. We've got some pretty massive wind farms going on down there. Trust me.
Okay.
No, a couple hours south of where I live right now, it's windy. There are a couple of sort of wind tunnel channels through there. And you drive down and you see the big windmills, and they are moving pretty good.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
That's a good sign. It's better than the solar panels, because eventually, we'll run out of photons.
Oh, but wait a minute, haven't you heard? We can't do too much wind farms because eventually we'll run the Earth out of wind.
I remember that.
Good. I'm glad. I thought for a second there I was the only one that remembered that one.
No, I remember.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like
don't get it. There are certain levels of incompetence that I'm willing to wave off because you didn't know.
That is not one of them.
No, not even close. That is that is first year high school earth science at the least.
If you've made it that far in school without discussing anything to do with earth science,
yeah,
exactly. You got to be one of those have-not states, definitely.
Yeah, exactly my point. All right, so back on track because,
yeah.
Anyway, so here's I didn't. Yeah, whatever. It's not going to be nearly as impressive as not nearly as impressive as the bottle of wine. Another night. So the Satanic Temple has basically made a habit of basically inserting themselves into an area and saying, look, you're allowing religious groups in to do this, which is blatantly against the law, or at the very least, really, really highly questionable. We want in. Now, they say that they're not trying to, well, forgive me, stir the shit. But they do end up doing exactly that, if nothing else, just by putting their name out there. Seriously, Bridget, I know full well you've seen these news reports where people suddenly come out of the freaking woodwork as soon as they hear they satanic. That's all you need to get out, and all of a sudden, all the school marms are all coming out to the school board meetings. They're cramming the place, and they're yelling and screaming. They're having prayer meetings outside to protect you had to have seen these news reports. You had to have.
Not recently, but yeah, I have in the past. I've been avoiding the news for the most part since Trump got inaugurated. So yeah,
understandable. But I mean, this is not something that's new. I mean, we've seen them go out there and do their thing, and usually, when they try to do something like what was one of the better ones they wanted to have a I think it was a World War, I forget if it was a World War II or a Civil War memorial of sorts, and it was basically a big metal block with some stuff on it that indicated that it was from the Satanic Temple, to commemorate people who died in the line of whatever duty, and they wanted to have it put into a place where there was already a similar a similar erected commemorative whatever to similar people who were in uniform and died for whatever the cause was. And suddenly, maybe having everybody put in their thing might not be such a good idea, because this one that we've got with crosses on it, we're gonna have to share the space with the Satanists. Oh,
Yep.
Well,
maybe we should not do that, because
look at the look at the 10 Commandments in front of the courthouse in Oklahoma. No, it was the same thing. Everybody said, okay, you know what? If you're going to have a Christian monument, or I guess that would be more a Judeo monument, because, Old Testament, then, yeah, because it's public land by law, if you're going to have one, you've got to have them all. And, like, honestly, I think people might call it immature, and they might say that, well, you're not really making progress, because you're just trying to use the same rules. Like, yeah, we're trying to call people out, to show that there is a sense of, choosing my words carefully here, there is an innate sense of entitlement when it comes to being a Christian in certain parts of the United States, where it's
hold on a second. Let's be fair. It's not just in the U.S. Christians in Christian-heavy communities. It could be a country, it could be a town, but whomever, I don't care at this point. I'm going to go erudite. Whomever happens to be the dominant factor tends to think that they are the ones who have all of the privilege, whether they admit to it openly or not. Now, with that in mind, I'm sorry for sidelining you, but
the one reason I go out to the United States is because that one has been confirmed as not a Christian nation.
Yeah, true.
I don't know enough about England. I honestly don't know enough about Canada's origins to say whether I don't know if it's ingrained in our founding documents. I don't know. But thanks to guys like Seth Andrews and stuff, I know quite a bit about you guys in that respect.
And it's not pretty.
Yeah, so like it's proven legally that you guys aren't a Christian nation, and yet a lot of the Christians still have that sense of privilege because no one's ever really contested it until not so long ago. Because now you've got multicultural, you've got people who are getting a little more awakened into reality, as is I would dare say as is with social evolution. We ain't seen no miracles in a few hundred years now, folks, and those that we have seen, we can actually explain. So even if you try to throw God of the gaps at it, it's not holding.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of one of the items. You want to talk about miracles? Yeah, the first one that came to my mind, and Bridget, I know that you remember this one, the one in India with the Weeping Mary statue, and they thought that it was
oh,
weeping.
wasn't that was the backed up sewer pipe, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
That was that was fun.
Or what was the other one? The tree that was like giving drops of nectar, but it was actually aphid poop. Aphid poop, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
People believe almost anything some days. They'll think that. Well, I was going to say, they'll think that inhaling burning carcinogenic fumes makes you look badass.
Yeah, or coffee enemas are supposed to cleanse you, or
let's not the only way that I'm doing a coffee enema is the normal way, with hot coffee down through my throat, because I would like to taste my coffee. Thank you very much.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with sort of the lack of exposure to the wonders of the world. And I harken back to what we talked about last night, the waterfall at Yellowstone, the one that in February, when the sunlight hits it just right, the water looks like it's suddenly glowing.
Yeah. Like it's on. Well, all right. To be fair, we had a list that we talked about where nature basically is really, really freaking cool as hell. And yes, this one in particular, it makes the waterfall look like it is, no lie, like it's on fire, as if it was a waterfall of lava, but it's just because of how the sun is coming through, and it's so orange and red. Joey showed us pictures of it, and I truly looked at it, and I thought that's a lava waterfall. That's lava falling. Nope, that's the sun. No, yeah. I mean, you saw the picture, and you had pretty much the same reaction, I'm sure.
Yeah, actually, give me a second here. Share the screen because I can.
And don't forget to give me the link to the thing so I can put it in later.
But okay, I'm just going to zoom in on a couple of these pictures here. Like there's one.
Yeah,
that's water. Apparently, this takes place in February, and it's when the sun hits it just right.
Yeah, assuming that it's a nice clear day.
Yeah, and then you got this one here. I mean, that to me, that one is just beautiful. Now,
yeah, and so that the folks that are watching understand. Yeah, we know it's small on the screen. Sorry, the web page that it was coming from, it's kind of what they gave us. But
to the point though, imagine somebody who believes aphid poop is a sign of God's miracle. Imagine them seeing something like this. There'd be prayer circles all over the place because they're thinking that the water is being possessed by the devil. I would almost say it has to do with a lack of sort of exposure to the basics of nature and the understandability that once in a while, you know what, you're going to get these things that happen outside of your bubble or outside of, what is familiar. And, some people will think of it as, divine intervention, and hopefully more people would just go, okay, just exactly what is that? How do we do that?
Yeah, there's a piece to take along with this, because the way that atheists get seen by a lot of these folks is kind of the same thing. Don't know about it. And it's a scary thing because don't know about it. The guys from the Satanic Temple, you don't really know about it, but the piece that you do supposedly know is the shit that's left over from the Satanic Panic from the early 80s, which we kind of talked about part of that once before with Bobby, with Bobby Carey, and it's like, man, all those albums that got wrecked, and man, those were good albums too. Kiss 2. If I remember right, Bobby was all sad about that one because that one got wrecked. But I mean, that's the stuff that gets left over, that gets left behind, that people don't really know. And the first thing that humans end up going towards anything we don't understand is fear. And that's not necessarily a cultural thing. It tends to be. You know what, Dallin, you were gonna say something. I've got a quote I gotta find.
Oh no, I was at first I was remembering when I was in school, we actually had to watch the Geraldo Rivera special on satanic music, and they interviewed Ozzy Osbourne, and they had a guy from the Satanic Temple on there, and he was not the snappiest dresser I'd ever seen. He kind of dolled himself up to look like a really bad Ming the Merciless cosplay.
Oh, holy Christ. I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, balls. I remember that.
Yeah. And I love what I absolutely love what Ozzy said at the end of his interview. He says, I actually say God bless you at the end of every show. So you know what? You want to call me Satanist? Basically, screw you. You know, the really funny thing is they talk about all the, you know, this music was a devil, that music was a devil. Years later, I got a hold of that music. And there's absolutely nothing devilish about it.
Did you play it backwards?
Yeah, I did. And it sounded even worse. I did. And it's like, nobody, and I mean nobody, goes through that much effort to get that kind of point across. Unless, actually,
Lucifer.
Yeah, I did hear of somebody though who did do it. They actually did do it, and they fashioned their words in such a way that when I played backwards, I can't. But it was a total troll. For the life of me, I can't remember who it was, but they did it strictly as a prank, just to get these people. And I can't remember who it was or what the song was.
Iron Maiden did that in their Peace of Mind album. They had a.
Maybe that was it.
They put an end of a track purposely backwards just to make people play it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think Todd Rundgren might have as well at one point. I forget who it was, but we know full well Weird Al Yankovic did once. But that was a total that was a fun one. Stephanie is reminding me of something, and you know what? Damn it! If you're not exactly right, good catch. Very good catch. I would not have remembered about that. She's saying that would have been in that interview that you're talking about. That would have been the Church of Satan, because the Satanic Temple did not exist at that point.
Fair point.
Good catch. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Yeah, and in my own defense, probably the reason why I didn't remember it quite that way was it wasn't really relevant in my life at that point. Because honestly, yeah, I watched this thing with Geraldo Rivera. And I went home that night. It was like, you know, well, what did you learn today? Like, not much. You know, like I honestly, I gave so little care of, you know, well, if you play this song, like, because my parents didn't believe it. None of in my family believed it. My brother was heavy into bands like AC/DC and stuff. So, I mean, if anybody would have known about it, it would have been him. And just given the relationship we had, like, he's the one that actually introduced me to a lot of these bands. And if there had been anything like backwards, he would have told me, or he would have shown me. This is a guy who introduced me to Cheech and Chong. Okay? There wasn't a whole lot that was sort of sacred, if you will, between us. So if there were any backward messages on any of his albums, I would have known about it.
Oh my God, I just suddenly realized. Dude, Cheech and Chong, that's the Spanglish version of Doug and Bob McKenzie. You realize this now, right?
Yeah. Well, and of course, Tommy Chong being Canadian, it's still got a little bit of, you know.
Well, it's the Spanglish thing is my attitude.
Actually, I wanted to ask Joseph, though. Well, we got to talking about the I don't know and suddenly you're afraid. Do you think that kind of plays into the whole survival instinct thing? It's kind of primal?
I think you'll find that practically everything in existence having to do with the human condition leads down to that.
I guess, yeah. But I just want to, like, so you don't understand it.
So this is outside of my bubble, and they look to their survival leader to tell them whether it's a supreme threat or a supreme protection or supreme sign.
Okay.
Because they don't know how to decide for themselves.
Yeah, to that end, the quote I was looking for. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky, dangerous animals, and you know it. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that humans were alone on this planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
What you'll be obliged to know.
Yeah. Now, for those that don't get the reference, I'm quoting specifically from the movie Men in Black. Now, we've said on many an occasion, you know, it doesn't matter that much where you find inspiration from. It's if the inspiration holds water. This, even though the Earth is flat thing doesn't exactly hold water, the overall sentiment does. Groups of people are typically very panicky, but individuals can learn for themselves, can adjust for themselves. But it's hard because you have to first be your own individual.
Well,
That's just it. Like a kid growing up, you know, you're going to have certain things they're going to be learning about how the world is around them, and they're going to see things that are going to speak to them
intuitively, yeah.
Yeah, but
close enough.
And then you see adult protector who's giving a message that goes completely against it, and the kid's going to come to a point where they're going to go, well, am I going to trust my instincts or am I going to trust this person? And they like abandoned their learning process. You know, normally you're supposed to learn this stuff for yourself.
Yeah, and I think too. Sorry.
No, just but it's really a point in life where you decide to rely on your own mental capacities to learn, or you're going to rely on somebody else. And religion, they try to intervene at every point of that process to try to make themselves try to make people rely on them instead of their own instincts.
Well, look at
or their own capacities. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think when a person is alone, away from prying eyes and where there's no fear of looking like you stand out, you can do a lot of your own sort of self-discovery and challenging those rules. I think a lot of George Orwell's 1984, where what's his name, Smith, you know, when he's working at the factory, when he's in company, he plays the role of the good little citizen. But away from that, away from all the prying eyes, he's able to explore without fear of social repercussion. I mean, spoiler, it doesn't work out for him in the end, but I think it's kind of the same thing. Is like, okay, you're walking down the street, like walking downtown, you're in a big crowd and you see something happen. You're one of, say, several thousand in the crowd. You're not going to do anything about it. Or you're not going to explore it further, even though your curiosity might be a little bit piqued, but you don't want to stand out because there's a chance you might be ostracized or suddenly you might be different. And suddenly you lose that status in your social network.
You know, it's really funny you bring that up because I was having an argument about with somebody about the Dark Ages and why there was no progress during that period. And what you just described, you know, is probably pretty close to the truth of what happened during that period.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
that doesn't...
it's documented nowhere. I mean, where are they going to write this down? Where this social ostracization?
Yeah.
Because that also goes back to the survival instinct, because why don't you want to stand out? Well, it might be bad for my survival.
Because you might be cast out of the group.
Exactly.
Yeah, there are two names in particular that come to mind for me. Galileo. He was basically put under house arrest because he went against church doctrine for the earth and the sun and everything. And then Copernicus.
Well, that's when the church started to lose its control, because they made the mistake, the fall of Constantinople. They imported all the Greek texts that nobody had been reading for like over 1,000 years. They allowed people to study them, and that's what kicked everything off.
Yeah, but my point of it is that if it had not been these two particular individuals, it would have been somebody else. That it just works out that way, because no matter what, sooner or later, it doesn't matter who it is, somebody will discover something, because that's the way that science works. If it's not one person, it's going to be another. But these were people who sacrificed, who gave up certain social positions. I guess it might be not the right way of putting it, but because they had the right behind them. They had the right information behind them.
And you could also look at it that, this fear of non-social conformity, conformity when things get so bad that that people start to think that it's better for their survival to break from the pattern than adapt to it. Well, that means things are pretty bad. Did that make sense?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. But you've got to be pushed very, very hard, or things have to be like monumentally bad.
Look at Trump voters. I mean, after all the shit, they're still voting for. They're still supporting him. After they have to be in the street and starving with no resources before they change their mind.
Not even. I truly believe someone. You know what? I'm not going to go down that.
But you're right. If you take them one-on-one and you have a discussion, well, eventually maybe you'll be able to bring them around. But that's a lot of work and a lot of people.
And that's kind of like the whole atheist movement, is that you're not going to see things en masse. It has to be on a face-to-face, one-on-one basis. Because as soon as you get, say more than 6 people involved at once, that
they're just going to fall back on their support group.
Yeah, you start to fall back onto the mob mentality because
they're going to feel protected.
Yeah, there's enough people there that no one person suddenly feels that they have to take responsibility for even themselves. I remember there was actually a study done on this where I think it was in groups of less than 6. Somebody would be willing to step forth and help somebody, like say apply first aid or something like that. But I think as soon as you get to more than 6 people, nobody is willing to go out and do it because they think, well, somebody else should be willing to do it. Eventually you get to the point where you don't feel you need to stand out because there's enough of your group there that they'll get done what needs to be done. And you don't have to put as much effort into it or any effort at all.
Or risk.
That too.
Yeah. Because
it depends on on the situation.
Yeah. I want to go out on a little bit of a limb and kind of take a piece of what we were just talking about. And I'll explain in a minute how this kind of all works together. And no, again, this is not the beer talking, not by a long shot. It's anyway. You're talking about if you got people individually to talk through a position who might be ideologically set towards a particular mindset. I'm trying really hard not to get into the political area here, but read between the lines. I think you can figure out where I'm going here.
Yeah.
I would think it would be easier to argue through the points with a small group versus a one-on-one with an individual. And here's the reason why. If we go with the idea of the Satanic Temple for a second and the people who get their knickers in a twist because, oh my God, the Satanists are coming. First off, you don't know who the hell you're talking about at this point, but we'll leave that go for a second because you're scared and you're rolling up the windows on your soccer mom van, whatever. But if you were to get a small group together, like you're saying, 6 people, you would theoretically have enough people where some would hang back, some would come forward. And the ones that would come forward in order to argue more could be leveled off a little bit because they're in a smaller group, or they might become much more vicious, Either way is the way that it could go. But if you were to engage and calmly, gently talk through whatever the points were and argue the individual points, if you know them well enough, in a gentle fashion, in a respectful manner, to not raise your voice, to be, hold on, let's just talk through this piece yet. If you have the facts on your side and someone doesn't, I think you might have an easier time of nudging people either onto the fence or willing to peek over the fence at the very least. Because you could compose yourself. You could show that you're not the evil satanic baby. I was going to say baby. You know what? No, not going to. No, not going to go there.
Baby burgers.
Yeah, it's not quite where I was going, but yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm kind of wondering, would that make sense that we could, again, as the people who have got a point to make that has the facts behind them, couldn't we get people to listen and to maybe have a better chance of getting people interested in finding out more later? Not making an instant conversion, not by a long shot, but getting people interested in trying to question what they had already, quietly on the in such a capacity that they would not be peeking their head over everybody else and getting whacked over the head societally.
Before you even get to that point, you have to convince somebody that they can rely on their own value judgment abilities.
Well, Stephanie she's trying to quote Richard Carrier, although she kind of mangled it, she says. But it says, if someone refuses to use logic, what logic are you going to use to persuade them?
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry, my crosshairs right there fall directly on Ray Comfort and other people like him who go after, they ask you the questions and they try to lead you down that one particular path, like, well, look at this stone, the Lamborghini in the junkyard during the tornado.
The script.
Yeah. They've got everything sort of done by rote, and
he's kind of a bad example because he knows, I'm pretty convinced that he knows perfectly well what he's doing.
No, hold on. He's exactly the exact prime example for exactly that reason. Yeah. He's the one who is
a believer. I don't think he believes this shit.
No. He doesn't need to. He just needs to make others believe, because if they believe, they are eventually going to funnel their resources, whether it's monetary or societal or cultural, and believe in him. And if they believe, it doesn't matter if he believes. I mean, come on. Perfect example. Peter Popoff. We know full well he's the hell with it. I've been good up until this point.
He's a con artist. Let's just leave it at that.
He's a fucking fraud. Hey, Peter. He's a con artist. He's a fucking fraud. No two ways about it. Literally, there are no two ways about it. He was unmasked. But he doesn't need to believe. All he needs to do is to convince others. That's what the charlatans, all they have to do. They don't have to be believers. They just have to convince people enough to funnel their money into them.
Well,
because
that's why they call it confidence, con artist confidence, which means you have to convince your victim to trust you instead of their own judgment.
Yes. Yeah. And then they get others to join in because they're convinced. Why not trust you? I trusted you before. You think this guy is good? Sure. I'll check it out. Sure. I'll go ahead along with you. And so on and so on. And
that's exactly what religion does.
Bingo.
And you know, I was watching some animation thing on YouTube a couple weeks ago, and pretty entertaining, you know, for what it was.
I'm guessing it wasn't my piece.
Well,
sorry, it's another thing, another show.
Yeah,
Maybe
but you know, but the whole thing is that the guy who did the video, like I said, he did really good with it. It had a pretty engaging storyline as far as I remember. But then these two characters got into this discussion. And one asked, you know, do you believe in the animator? Almost like a fourth wall break. Because, you know, they're talking about, you're like, well, we must be animated from something. And the main character, who is apparently the self-insertion of the author of this production, starts going down this road. And I'm like, this is the Ray Comfort script. This guy is totally, he is doing the Ray Comfort apologetic thing in this show. And I was watching the comments afterwards, and I mean, he got lambasted for it. Like, he got nailed. And he's just like, yeah, well, you know what? You don't like it, turn it off, you know, because these are my beliefs, and I believe this, and this is true because I believe it's true. And, you know, it just, I had to stop watching the series, because it's not that, you know, I was twigged or anything like that. It's just like, how could I give any kind of, how could I watch something that was made by such a pretentious asshole? You know, but the thing that he actually, that he went down the road, he went down the Ray Comfort road of trying to, you know, make it that the animator's real. And I mean, it was just, it was the exact same arguments contextualized for the story, for the setting of the story. And I was like, I cannot believe you went there, you pompous ass. You know, goodbye, click. It just,
It's basically, you know, they're throwing shit and seeing what sticks. And if something sticks, well, one's gonna take up on the other's tactics.
Oh, we've talked about that before, where they just,
one of the most annoying ones is the communism equals atheism. They call it the I think it was the Dawkins Institute, somebody writing for them anyways, it came up, it's called the atheist atrocities fallacy.
Oh yeah, Stalin was an atheist. They try to say Hitler was an atheist, although he's actually been quoted as saying that he thought he was doing God's work.
I have loads of quotes from him, and he's actually talking about stamping out atheism. There's direct quotes. And as in his negotiations with the Vatican Council, that's pretty revealing too.
Yeah. What's the we've talked about this before, that one particular argument, or that one technique where they start throwing questions out to the point where
Gish Gallop.
Thank you. The Gish Gallop. Yes.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what the Gish Gallop is, it's disgusting. Yeah. It's disgustingly dishonest.
It's just a debate tactic, because you're limited in how much time you have to answer.
Well, to be fair, it's not limited to just formal debate, not by a long shot. It can happen pretty much any time.
Yeah, but I think
something with somebody, but
I think what Joseph might be saying is that maybe that's where it originated.
It did. Go ahead. I thought you were going to go further with that, Joseph.
Oh no, that was
okay.
I said it was abridged by Dallin, and
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, the Gish Gallop is basically, you keep hammering with as many questions as you can possibly fit in, and leave them open-ended, leading towards a possibility, but never really getting there, until you fill up all the time that you've got, and somebody that's supposed to try to answer them all, there's no way that they can answer all of the things in order to say, look, this is wrong because, this is wrong because, well, they couldn't answer this question and this question, so I must be right.
And of course, anybody who really was interested in an answer would just ask one question and wait for the answer.
Yeah,
exactly.
Which means they're not even really interested in the debate.
No, And that's something that we've dealt with on many an occasion.
Yeah.
As mentioned, the it was Ken Ham and Bill Nye debate. There was no debate. That was preaching, and well, it was preaching and debate. And I'll leave it to people to go ahead and watch that whole thing to try to figure out who did which. Spoilers, you can already figure it out.
Yeah, but yeah, what's hell like? To me, hell would actually be having to have an eternal conversation with Ray Comfort and his bananas.
You know, if there was a loving God, he would have made every banana he ever held onto completely radioactive. Not just that little bit that it's got, completely radioactive.
Well, are there banana trees at the Bikini Atoll now? I can't remember. I know there's coconuts. And I know that they could practically glow right now.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah, it is kind of too bad. Like, I haven't read too much about like the tenets of the Satanic Temple or anything like that, but everything else I've heard and what I've heard other people talk about them, it's like, you know, these guys could very well be, you know, they would almost be a good transition from hardcore Christian, between hardcore Christian to atheist. I actually think, no, I think they would actually be a good transition point, because it's like, don't be a dick, you know, and then from there, forge your own moral path.
Well, they're great for making people confront their own Dunning-Kruger cognitive dissonance.
They are the proverbial fluorescent light in the bathroom when you're looking in the mirror, because your reflection shows all the pits and blemishes that you have on your face.
Oh yeah, those weird magnifying makeup mirrors. They just
Yeah, I don't.
Yes, where chapped lips look like the Martian landscape.
Let's not do that. So, since Dallin mentioned it, for those of you that don't know, and I'm pretty sure the folks that are watching, listening right now probably have already, but the 7 tenets of the Satanic Temple are as follows. And I love bringing these up because these are, I mean, Will Wheaton's rule, Wheaton's law is don't be a dick. That's Will Wheaton. Yes, the guy who did Wesley Crusher, who's done so much more, who is a freaking awesome guy, by the way. Maybe
Really
one of these
is.
days I'll ask him. He's great. He's great. But anyway, the Satanic Temple, 7 tenets. One should strive. It's not one as in the number one. This is one person. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. Number 2, the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. Number 3, and this is the one that got them in trouble over there in Missouri. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. You can't tell me I have to wait 72 hours for a procedure that I can legally have. So, you know, screw you and your laws. Number 4, the freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego your own. Number 5, beliefs should conform to our best scientific understanding of the world. We should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit our beliefs. Number 6, people are fallible. If we make a mistake, we should do our best to rectify it and resolve any harm that may have been caused. Number 7, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. Now, like I said, we put this up against the 10 Commandments, and we basically said, this is, I will say it, to me, this is beautiful. This is a way of saying, well, in so many words, don't be a dick. I mean, it really, to me, it all boils down to that, but it codifies it in such a glorious way to me.
Yeah, don't be a dick. Think. And
don't be dishonest.
Yeah. And know when it's time to basically use a little bit of value judgment.
Yeah. And Devin has said very well, these tenets of the Satanic Temple sound a little bit like secular humanism. I can get behind what they believe for sure.
Yeah, and I think that comparison's been made a few times, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. Yeah, and the funniest part about it is, in a certain way, the Satanic Temple is, in some respects, very comparable to secular humanism.
Mm-hmm.
Because for them, Satan is a literary figure. He's a mascot who doesn't exactly have a fursuit, but that's okay. Maybe one of these days we'll see about that.
It's exactly. I had a hard time nailing this down because, I mean, atheists have a hard time not siding with them, but identifying with them, because, the whole point of atheism is not identifying with them. But what they managed to do is, like you said, they've taken this entity and they use it as a kind of ventriloquist dummy.
Well, as a mascot is the way that I've seen it.
But I really see it as a ventriloquist dummy, and this is exactly what a lot of Christian religions do with their God. It's a bunch of humans wanting to tell other humans what to do, and they use this. They've invented this proxy, and that's exactly what the Satanic Temple is doing.
Yeah, but
same shit like you're doing right back at you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what Bridget said with the Aikido. It's a parody.
Yeah, a damn good one.
Well, yeah. Exactly. Like these guys are like they are doing the ultimate troll. But doing it in such a way, like you said it earlier in the show, they're using the inherent Christian laws, if you will. They're actually using the letter of the law instead of the spirit of the law. And people are losing their shit over it, which is awesome.
Yes, it is. And it's true. They really do. Stephanie has also commented that they are secular humanists. The religious lot are the Church of Satan. Satan was the first rebel. Yes. And that's kind of the way that I tried to lay it out there. The Satanic Temple is, for, as the expression goes, for all intents and purposes, secular humanists. Though they are not really. They are
required.
Right. They are, but they're not. In action, they are, but in official, they're not. And like I said, for them, Satan is he's a mascot. He's a cheerleader. He is a point where they can go, oh, look at what he did in this book. It would be like if you were to bring up if you were to start a religion based around the Moby Dick, the white whale, and you were celebrating Moby Dick, and you were going out on the water, kind of the way that Greenpeace used to take on whaling vessels.
It's funny.
I'm making a comparison that way because it's the closest one I can come up with.
I was just going to say, it's funny you mentioned white whale because there is a YouTuber. No. Just allow me.
Full of semen.
No. The guy's the YouTuber's name is Ghastly, and he is a ghost. This guy, I think he arose from the flaming wreckage that was the whole nation of Kekistan. But he is spreading the gospel of the I can't remember the name of it, but it's all hail the blue whale. And he's fighting for ghost rights. You know, he wants fright supremacy.
Goodness.
Well, just sorry. As soon as you said white whale and praise it, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I've actually heard something like this before. Just honestly, go look it up. It is hilarious.
Okay, nothing to do with any of that. Forgive me. Because I had pulled up the tenets on the website. I was just looking at the stuff, and I realized, oh, they've got a link over here for, you know, shop Satan. Oh, okay, what kind of stuff? I'm not going to say that people should or should not give money to any group. I am, however, going to say that I did not expect this. Yes, you can get you can have a membership cards and certificates for a particular dollar amount. I'm not going to give the dollar amounts.
I'm glad Heretic Woman's not on this show because she'd be ordering all that shit right now.
Oh, this gets good. You can contribute to the Satanic Temple for a relatively small amount of money, which is fine. You can contribute for the after school Satan clubs, again a similar small amount of money. But I just came across this one. Again, to a as low as a small amount of money. Contribute to the Religious Reproductive Rights Legal Aid Fund.
Hello.
Holy shit. I did not expect to see that. But then again, somehow or other, the fact that it's there, I'm not totally surprised. I'm gratified. Because this is their opportunity of saying, look, you contribute to this, you know, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, which is nice. Let's see, mugs, t-shirts, mugs, some nice looking mugs. Oh, hoodies. There you go. Because, you know, got to have hoodies, hats. And the funny part of it is not all the stuff is black and red, which is, for all of you that have got OC concerns. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's just perfectly fine. Black and white shirts. Candles. They have candles. Who knew?
Okay, that one I'm going to say not overly surprised.
Yeah, that doesn't totally surprise me either. But the point of it is, like we said, you know, they may be legal trolls, but okay, A, they're damn good at what they do. B, they got some really good support in order to do what they do, which generally speaking is the rules that have been laid out for them, which is, like I said, you're going to beat somebody at their own game. That's the way to do it. Yeah, but the idea of Bridget, the idea of you know, the martial arts, jiu-jitsu, aikido, and such, I never would have thought about that. How did you even think about that? I mean, how?
Well, I mean, I've taken aikido a little bit. I've taken kung fu quite a bit, and that's just something that occurred to me. That yeah, they're fighting against these other Christian groups using their same rule set against them, and it's just brilliant.
I don't like it. I don't like it a lot.
You know, I went to the site, and I went one click further on the reproductive rights thing. Yeah, the contribution is to help with the lawsuit in Missouri right now. That's is cool.
Yeah, and for folks that are wondering, how much is just a little amount of money? A large premium coffee. A large premium coffee.
Yeah, if you can forgo your Starbucks for a day, you can you can donate to this.
Oh, you know, I was gonna steer really clear about which group, because there's bad blood right now with Timmy's with a lot of folks, but that's another show for later.
And that is so blown out of proportion. No, it's this is where the term franchise comes in.
No, I got you. I got you. I'm sorry. Again, I'm scrolling further and further through the stuff. Oh, this is great. All right, you know how the Satanic Temple has got the circle with the pentagram in the middle?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the pentagram, the 5-pointed star.
Yeah, the pentacle.
Pentacle. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's usually with the point down.
Yeah.
They've got mugs where they've got that, but the circle on the outside has been turned into the female symbol with the plus on the bottom. That's actually pretty cool. Holy Jesus. These guys know how to market their stuff. I like it. You might consider that. You know what? So somebody you know, I will website. I gotta remember to put that into the show notes for myself. I just dropped that into the
Satanic Temple Salem candle. I like that.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I see that. I see what you're talking about now, or at least I saw that in the sticker pack.
Yeah. So again, we're not telling you to contribute to any particular group, because if we did, there are a lot of them that are out there that are worthwhile. The Satanic Temple is one of them that has been doing, dare I say, God's work. In this case, the God on Twitter, who has basically gone ahead and said, Kirk Cameron, stop talking for me, you fucker. Or I think I'm paraphrasing just a little bit, but just a little bit.
No, honestly, I think these guys are doing it right.
Yeah.
Because they are, you could say that they are largely a parody. Because, but at the same time, like you said before, they're using those rules and conventions against the people who created them to give themselves that level of privilege. And I think that is awesome. You know?
And the mascot they're using is something of creation. Christian creation. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's creation is creation, Christian creation. Really, what's the difference?
Tomato, potato, a Satan. Who gets? I don't care about that. Anyway,
let's call the whole thing off.
Oh God, this is great stuff over here. The Jesus fish with the 666 in the center.
Saw that.
So that was. I'm thinking about that. You know what? I'm actually giving serious consideration to that. I don't have a lot of discretionary capital, but you know what? Yeah, just maybe. And now think about it this way. We can get away with saying that we like what they're doing because they're using the parody. They're using the fight against the privileged groups. But then we've also got groups like here in the United States, the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties
Union,
right?
That is union, yeah.
What it didn't feel right for some reason by saying it. Who will do the legal work on their own because they're a legal firm, which doesn't always get the same level of respect, I guess might be the best way of putting it. You've got the Freedom from Religion Foundation, who tends to be seen more for the litigious side, even though they don't litigate nearly as often as people think. Usually they just send a nice little letter that says, you really shouldn't be doing this. Please don't do that anymore, because you will lose a lot of money. And nobody wants that. So please don't do that anymore, even though it pisses off people. But the Satanic Temple just goes ahead and says, it was good enough for you, it's good enough for us. What you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Ball's in your court.
Well, but think about it. This is giving people a taste of their own medicine. If you go after them, and actually, what is we've always said? What's the best way to deal with this abject stupidity? Mock it.
Oh,
that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's more balls in your court. It's more like balls in your mouth.
You know,
well, that's if you're having a good night. But no, like if the ACLU gets involved, people get very they get very defensive. Suddenly it's Roy Moore town. They try to justify everything that they do. The FFRF, they're seen as a bully. But the Satanic Temple, when they come into town and they start doing this and people start yelling and screaming, and then the reporter goes, wait a minute, but they're just asking for exactly the same thing that you get under the religious law that you have advocated. And
that does prove a good point.
Yeah, it gives them, the Satanic Temple gives these people, they force them to hang themselves with their own ropes.
Thank you. I was hoping you were going to say that. I was so hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah, but that's what they do. They basically catch people in their own BS and make them see it and make other people around see it. Like this
is what you wanted.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. This is the consequence of be careful what you wish for.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep. Exactly. That's exactly right.
You got your theocratic power. You've written it down as the quote unquote letter of the law. And now we're going to take advantage of it because it is the letter of the law. And then they kind of go, but the spirit of the law, wrong. The spirit of the law is Lady Justice is blindfolded, so she can't see the spirit of the law. She has to know the letter of the law. There might be a little bit of nuance behind, some decisions, but ultimately, no. And I think it was said before too, like, again, going back to the 10 Commandments, is that, a Hindu church in Oklahoma would have had the right to put something on there. And a mosque could have put something on there. And then the entire city would have imploded. Having been there several times myself, yeah, it's an interesting kind of town with some of these folks.
Yep. By the way, as an aside, I will include the link in the show notes for this one. By the way, I did find the monument in question that I had been talking about before, where it was basically a big metal cube.
Yeah.
And I did find it on the Satanic Temple's website. So I will, like I said, I will put that over in there. It was a veterans monument. It was basically a metal cube. I don't see what the size of it was. On the faces on around, it is the quote unquote inverted 5-pointed star with an upside down soldier's helmet on the top, and I don't believe there was any other writing on it. Yeah, I don't see anything specifically for that. Yes, I am starting to feel a little bit of the buzz on the stuff, but it was going to be placed in Belle Plaine, Minnesota, and in Remembrance Park. It had been approved by city officials because what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You've already got Christian crosses all over the place, so you don't have too much of a choice in the matter. And they lost their shit. They flipped their wigs. They got their panties in the twist. I don't know. I don't know what else. I don't know what it was. Anyway, but it was not something that was black and red. It was a dark metal. The star on it was engraved in, so it had a slightly lighter look to it, but it had no words on it. It had no Hail Satan, no 666. It had an upside down helmet up on the top. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It was a quiet, respectful piece to recognize. And they lost their shit.
At the top of the show, you talked about punishments and stuff like that. And I know we as a race are quite spiteful. We can be. And honestly, one of the thoughts that came to my head when we first started this show was I would love to see a hospital built very high tech, very like advanced medicine, cancer research, basically a place where someone could go if they had, you know, the most strangest exotic malady ever, and could get fixed up. Now, I've been to certain hospitals that were funded, or certain religious groups had paid a substantial amount into their construction. Also, having done some research on the Freemasons back in the day, they tend to do a lot of donations on the side as well, but they don't typically advertise it because to them, it's not about the publicity. It's just about doing good. If I was still even remotely religious, I actually was considering joining them. But I found out atheists cannot be stonemasons or Freemasons. But what I would love would be to have one of these high-tech hospitals, like I'm talking premier healthcare here, funded majorly by the Satanic Temple and other like-minded groups, and see if someone like Joel Osteen, if he ever got struck down with something, would cross that threshold to be well. It's a spiteful thing for me to think that, but it would also just be delicious, in my opinion. I know, I'm a vindictive son of a bitch. I will fully admit that. But it would really put the test, you know, okay, how strong is your faith? You know, if the only place you could go to get cured of something was to a hospital that had been built and funded primarily by the Satanic Temple or some other group like that, would you still be willing to go? And if something like that ever got out, I would make sure that David Silverman knew all about it, because then he could get out there with his megaphone. Like it would be the juiciest ammunition the atheist movement would ever have. You know, but that's just me.
Yeah, there it is. And funny enough, I'm sorry, I was smiling and laughing because I was looking up information about where is there a chapter near you? Well, shit, there's one in Italy. I did not know that. I'm looking through their list. Ottawa, London, yes, England, London, England. Yes, there is one. West Florida, Detroit, Dallas. They've got one that's just listed as Colorado, but they don't say where. Boston, imagine that. Austin. Well, shit. Good on you guys. Atlanta and Arizona. You know, I was looking at it. It said Satanic Temple, Arizona. I was almost ready to say, wait, Tempe, Arizona? No, it's a different word. I'm doing real good. You know, funny enough, I was just looking at the time. I was kind of losing track of time because I'm enjoying the hell out of this, because I love good guy stories like this. Yeah, go ahead, screw him over. Yeah, I'm a vindictive pain in the ass sometimes too. I know. Anyway, because we gotta get rolling out of here momentarily.
Ooh. Sorry. Okay, yeah, this is a little old. I was looking for stuff up in my neck of the woods, and I did come up with an old Facebook post from a group called Occupy Calgary, and it talks a bit about the whole the Satanic Temple set up a website where women seeking an abortion can print out a letter for her healthcare provider explaining why she is exempt from informed consent mandates.
That sounds very suspiciously like what's happening out there out west.
Yeah, and the article from the Raw story is entitled "Satanists Want to Use Hobby Lobby Decision to Exempt Women from Anti-Abortion Laws." Yeah, using them laws against them.
You make good. You make good and goddamn sure that I got that link.
Yes, sir. I will do that.
Good man. So since we got to see about rolling up out of here, You know what? I don't have a hell of a lot of anything to say to close it up myself. So I'm just going to go with you guys over there at the Satanic Temple. You have a free and open opportunity whenever you guys want to let us know and you want to come on so we can discuss your stuff. Feel free. Lucian, I would be honored for you to show up. Truly, I would be honored. You say the word, you can come on anytime you want, provided we're actually on the air at the time. I'm not coming on at 2 a.m. just to pander to your ass. I've got my standards. 2 o'clock. No. Anyway, since we got to get out of here, that's as far as I'm going to go. Bridget, anything that you want to finish up with? I know it's been a little quiet for you on this one, but I'm sure that you've just been sitting there just with a big old grin on your face too.
Well, I mean, the only thing that I have to add is I'm glad that the Satanic Temple is doing what they're doing. They're doing good work. And props to them for doing it the right way.
Which basically means they're pissing everybody off and
they're winning.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's probably the best thing that you can say about it. I mean, shit. Even Silverman every once in a while is just got to go ahead and just shuffle his feet a little bit. But man, they go out there, they keep doing their thing. They keep winning and winning. And I like that. So, Joseph, anything that you want to close out with at this point for yourself?
No, nothing, Dad. Just waving pom-poms.
Are they black and red pom-poms?
Yeah.
With devil horns.
Yeah.
Ronnie James would be so proud right about now.
Mini skirt.
I don't have nearly enough goddamn beer for this. Don't do this to me now. I've already had my drink. Don't do this.
I'm not shaving the mustache, though.
You know what? I'm not going to take that as a euphemism for
Put that all together in your head.
That's your darling. Anything?
I wish I'd been here when that one rep was on before. I would love to actually sit and talk with these people or get into a conversation with them, because we've talked about, the firebrand atheist. We've talked about the street epistemologist, a la Dr. Peter Boghossian. We've spoken with the Ask an Atheist guys. We've had Cash on the show. We've had a lot of guests on here. I mean, not as many as some other places, but still, I think we've done pretty good. Given the circumstances. I honestly think that we've seen a lot in terms of the spectrum of how we're trying to wake people up. From smashing them over the head with facts and science and all that, to something a lot more subtle. Again, having listened to Boghossian in a lecture, asking questions, Socratic method, all that kind of stuff. I think these guys actually have one of the best ways of doing it, because there's a level of comedy and amusement, and quite literally, this has got to be like the biggest amount of ponage I've ever seen.
The funniest part is that the people targeted don't get it, the comedy part.
They're just outraged.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you can get them to take that one step back so that they realize that, wait a minute, yeah, these guys are actually using our own rules against us. I honestly think these guys are actually doing more for shaking those foundations that any amount of firebrand or gentle this or whatever. Props to everybody who does what they do. I mean, everybody who's a voice is making that kind of effort. But I got to admit, I got to give props to these guys' methodologies. That's a really nice religious construct you got there. It'd be a shame if somebody with, my sense of values could come in and do exactly the same thing. Oh, wait, I'm about to. you know, the screeching has got to be just divine to listen to. But that's just me.
The irony meter on that is delicious. I just love it.
Mini skirt with a G-string of
fuck,
no.
Yeah. Trippin', I'm gonna put you in a timeout.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm gonna put you in a timeout until what time is it now? 2047. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna put you in a timeout until 2047. By that point, I should be long since dead.
Okay, for a second I thought it was military time and you were just talking like 10:47.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Excuse me.
Yeah, no. Oh Jesus, tripping. Oh man.
So, for those of you that are just listening to the show, sorry, I just started to cough for no good reason. Which, when you're in a radio environment, that's not good.
Yeah.
It's really not good, because now I got to try to power through this. We'll work it from here. So, last item, just before we get out of here. For those of you that have been watching the Holy Crap Twitter account, you would have seen that I made a couple of tweets, and I made one that was of a personal nature this time, which I normally don't do for the Holy Crap account. Usually, I will do personal stuff for my own personal account because, you know, I don't usually like to mix the streams, shall we say. But I sent a specific tweet picture over to Bionic Dance. Now, I am actually giving consideration to inviting her to pop on with us sometime, maybe one of these days. But I had seen the I'm trying to remember, was it Funko? Yes, no, sorry, the Pop figurines. And you've seen these figures, you know, in Hot Topic, you know, the super deformed, the super big blocky head with the little bodies on them. Well, I had found on the shelf at one store Tron and Sark from the original movie Tron, and put them on the shelf next to each other. And I sent the picture over to her, and I said, it's a little smile for Bionic Dance, I hope, because I figured, okay, cool, you saw them, that'd be nice. Imagine my surprise when I got a picture back from her that said, way ahead of you. And there she is, holding, cradled in her wonderful hand, her own Sark and Tron figurines, because she's already got them. You bitch. Thanks ever so much. I had a good laugh at that, because the worst part of it was I could hear her voice. Way ahead of you. Okay. You know what? You got me. I guess all I just wanted to say was, A, thanks. And 2, keep up the good work. You're in good company.
Yeah, and I have to remember to thank YouTube for actually unsubscribing me from her apparently quite a long time ago, because I honestly thought the channel was done with.
Yeah, there's stuff. So we'll see what happens. So in the meantime, we need to get out of here. So everybody, thank you as always for joining us for tonight. We hope that you had yourself a whole bunch of fun at probably my expense at the very end of this all, and hope that you have something worthwhile in all of our perspectives on stuff. The big question on the floor, of course, is, so Shu, what did you think of your vanilla? Listen to me. I'm suddenly going into Long Island. I'm suddenly going into Long Islandese.
Oh, geez.
Jeez, I can't imagine who. Yes. Vanilla porter. So, yeah, I finished it a while ago. So the question is, how did I like it? Truthfully,
You didn't.
it's beer.
Yeah, it's beer.
It's I can't really say anything other than, you know, it didn't have a particular taste of anything. It's beer.
Well, at least, you know, you didn't end up scrunching your face up like you would have with a particular IPA that I'm familiar with.
Possibly and potentially,
yeah.
But
well, yeah, that was one thing I didn't manage to say last night when we were starting to talk about the beers. And Joey got into the whole India Pale Ale thing. At least the pale ales I've had, and I always go back to the one from Stone Brewery in California called Arrogant Bastard.
Which is a real thing.
Yes.
Is a real thing.
Yep. They also that same company makes another beer called Ruination, which is even more bitter. And that stuff, I'd been wanting to try it for years. And somebody, last time I was down in Pittsburgh, they were kind enough to bring a couple of bottles with them. I almost wanted to pay them back because drinking that stuff was, I think I'd have been better off drinking gasoline. That was bad. Like it was slap in the face bitter. Like I could have washed my mouth out with Tabasco sauce and probably had a better experience.
You don't want to do that.
No, I know.
So let's go ahead and get our way on out of here. All of you guys over there in the live chat, thank you very much. And TDTF, sorry you made it a little bit late. It was great to get the opportunity of talking with you last week for a little bit. Thank you. And Stephanie, who else was over there? Trippin. You know what? Screw you, Trippin. I'm not recognizing you at this point. And Devin, thank you guys. For anyone else that might have been watching and paying attention and didn't chime in for whatever reason, thank you very much. If you don't want to be chiming in over on the live chat over there, you can always, don't forget, check us over on Discord. The link is in the show notes, so you can kind of take part that way if that's your preferred method as well. So, Joseph, thank you very kindly, man. You have yourself a good morning and rest well.
You too, sir.
Caught you off guard, didn't I? Sorry.
Stay dry.
Just my ankles.
How about boots?
I put some pictures up on Facebook. I don't know if you saw them.
I'll have to check them.
I will admit I have not yet seen. So be that as it may. Bridget, thank you very kindly for your time, of course, and you have yourself a good night.
You too. Thank you.
No worries. And Dallin, is that time again?
It is indeed. Anyways, yeah. So if looking at our mugs isn't quite to your thing, or if you want to quote us at some point and you need to go back and find out, okay, what exactly did Shujin say that one time that made him look like a total and absolute yutz? You can check you can check those audio archives out over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. Then, of course, for myself, and if I've ever got anything I want to say outside of our boundaries here, you can find that over at inthewind.yo5.ca.
Thank you for all that, man. And, of course, on behalf of Heretic Woman, if you guys want to check out for her stuff and her shows, please check out beyondthetrailerpark.com, which should be recording Monday, if memory serves. I've forgotten what days they're recording, whatever the case may be. And the relatively new show that apparently Dallin speaks very highly of, which is fullchronic.com. And you can check that out at your leisure as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she does a good job with it.
Is that full frontal chronic?
It is not according to the webpage. However, you can, of course, always ask. And you know what? You can go ahead and set up your own webpage and set that one up.
Yeah, it is strictly an audio podcast, Joseph. So if it's being recorded,
something to the imagination.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if it is being recorded with no pants or no other articles of clothing, I can't say, and I'm sure as hell not going to ask.
I'm wearing pants.
I'm wearing pants.
I'm wearing. Yeah. See, for you, it's more dangerous because for you, wearing pants, that's just another obstacle for the ferrets to climb up. So
they do too.
WTMI, Key West. We got to get out of here. Of course, check us over on the web, as was mentioned, at holycrapthevlogcast.com. Some people get that reference. For some people, it's just, you're welcome. And of course, as always, the voicemail line is always available for you. 859-HCTV-554. 859-428-8554. I should really take some of this information and put it on the wall in front of me, because I've got the stuff over on this side over here. There's a long story. That's also the side where I have the list. Don't worry about it. If you don't know what that is, you don't need to know. Trust me, you don't need to know. But beyond that, we will be looking forward to talking to you guys next week. We are fast approaching episode 200. And just really quickly, I want you guys to know, thank you. And I don't mean that just for those of you that are listening or that are watching right now. I mean all of you, my hosts included. All of you. Thank you for helping get to even this far. I did not expect that I would be doing and continuing to do and have people wanting to continue to do 3 years on. But yet, here we are. I guess this means that I got to see about getting together, well, Bobby and Heretic Woman and Bill, Susie. Who's that other drunk that occasionally shows up? Whatever. Ms. Ashley. And and maybe we see about getting a round table together again with the guys, because the podcast family, man, loosely associated, but are we liable to get Cash back on the air anytime soon? Probably not. It's okay. He knows what he did, and more than likely, I know.
I would still raise a glass to him on that night, though. Because really, he's
the one that kicked our asses.
Yeah, it's all his fault, and we can't thank him enough.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. And we do it every goddamn week, because we're still doing our thing. In any case, we got to get out of here. As always, everyone, thank you. Please be safe. I would... You know what? I think that's the beer that's talking. That's telling me to sign off a little bit differently. But no, you all take very good care of yourselves, and thank you for being part of all this. I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. Have yourselves a good week. And as always, my lady, 12.5 years on, I am still in love. Matane Fujin. I love you, and I miss you. Dream of me. Till the next time we get together, everyone, as always, yes, I'm double checking to make sure I'm hitting the right button this time. Good night.